Excuse me?
That's right over those
That
hills.
looks insane.
Crazy.
So that's the Pacific Palisades fire from us.
Yeah.
You guys, it's so red because the fire is right there. So yeah.
If we get an alert to evacuate, we're gone.
We're in a pre-evacuation area right now. So we're waiting for an alert to actually evacuate. You guys, excuse me?
Crazy.
That is insane.
All right, guys. So we're back. This is kind of a new setup we have going here. And I think we're going to start making, videos in this style. And something that's been happening to us recently, we're in LA, we're in Los Angeles, and we're almost out of it, it feels, of the LA fires, in our area at least. So we feel very lucky in that sense that, one, we didn't have to evacuate. For the most part, we were safe from the fires. We could see the fires from our area. So yeah, it was pretty crazy from our point of view.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week. And like Grant said, we're really fortunate to be in the position that we are, with our place fortunately still standing. But it was definitely an emotional roller coaster all week. Where we live at in the valley, obviously the fire started in the Palisades and then it moved towards us, and we kept getting evacuation warnings and then evacuation cancellations, and then we would get an evacuation warning that wasn't meant for us, so it'd be sent out on accident.
Yeah.
So it has just been a lot of ambiguity kind of where we are specifically.
When we got the first evacuation warning, it kind of goes through your head like, what do I even take?
Yeah.
What do I grab? Because there's only a certain amount of stuff you can grab and put in your car and take to wherever you may go. And it's just so hard to think of in that moment, which is a moment of like emergency too.
Yeah.
So you're not even thinking straight. You're not even thinking like, oh, let me grab this heirloom, or let me grab this thing that I've had my entire life, or whatever it may be. How do you even make that decision? I'm sure that everybody has been following the fires on social media, things like that. And they counted a total of 24 confirmed deaths as of now.
That's sad.
And it makes you think like how those deaths occurred. Was it people who were like, oh no, I'm going to stay behind and I'm going to try to save my house? Because I actually saw a lot of videos of people doing that.
Yeah.
People staying behind. It seemed that it was successful for some people, but then you see these like terrifying videos on social media of people filming from inside their living room, filming the outside, and it's just this hellscape of flames.
The first day of the wind was so violent, and we've lived in LA a really long time, and this was the first time. Like that. I don't think the wind has ever been like this.
No.
This was the first time we've ever had wind where I was actually concerned that it would shatter our windows. When I saw the smoke, I didn't know that the fire was happening that very first day. I just happened to be like up that hill because that's where I go, for a walk sometimes. And I didn't even know that it was like the Palisades fire, but that in conjunction with the strength of the winds that day was insane.
Yeah,
it was so violent. We had to remove things from our patio so that they wouldn't get blown over and drop on somebody's car in the garage. So
from what we were seeing, 150,000 residents have been forced to evacuate their homes. I found this information like a day or so ago, so it might even be more now. 12,000 structures have been destroyed in the fire. That's homes, businesses, historical landmarks. It's just so surreal. We, every time we go into Malibu, we go to like this restaurant, and I actually don't know if that restaurant made it out or not, but I know that everything surrounding it is just it just looks demolished. It looks like a war zone. Multi-million-dollar houses that are all along the PCH right there when you're driving, you always see them, are just gone.
That's the stuff of nightmares. Like that'll give you PTSD, watching your house go up in flames, or, thinking that you would come back to a home and so all you grabbed was your dog and a few things and now everything is gone. I think that is such a viscerally traumatic experience that you're always going to have some sort of reaction to it. Your home is a reflection of your life's work. Especially for people who have been in their places for 10, 15, 30, 40, 60 years. That's an entire reflection of everything they've ever gone through.
Seeing the devastation that's happened, it's like, how do we just go back to normal after this? How do we go back to doing what we do, you know, for our careers and things like that? Like, how does anybody go back to normal?
And one of my biggest concerns, and I said this as soon as, you know, the fire really started, obviously, you know, it was making headlines day one, but when it really ticked up that second day, I went on this Instagram rant and I was just like mad and pissed off about how our elected officials don't seem to care and everybody feels so apathetic towards people who are losing their homes. I have a family member that works for basically a property management group. And what she does is she works in phone sales, essentially. So she helps get people who are prospective tenants from A to B. And they had somebody call in from California, 2 people. One person was like, I want to bid on this house. I'll do anything to get it. I'll give you $30,000 up front so that I can get into this place. And they were outbid by somebody else that was willing to pay them $50,000 every month.
Yeah, a month. Right?
For 12 months, for 24 months up front, which is like $1 million or something like that. And so obviously the other person that was coming with the 30 grand lost out on that bid. So we're already seeing the impact of housing and that level of competition is where these people are going to go. And what does that look like for residents of California?
Did you see Biden announced I think it's like somewhat of a financial aid that he's going to be giving the people. He said he's going to be giving people $770 to get them through this process of buying groceries, things they need. I don't know what that means.
A week?
I just heard a flat rate of $770. And I don't know exactly what that means. Like it's to get you by, hopefully until there's another financial aid that comes. And also all the, you know, elected officials in LA and California in general are, you know, getting reamed pretty hard on social media right now, as they should be.
Karen Bass not having a response.
Oh
at
my
least
gosh.
We got media training to apologize to the citizens of LA.
She had nothing to say.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely abhorrent behavior. It is so unfortunate that we continue to elect officials who position themselves to have our best interest at heart, just for them to prove that they don't, in fact, have our best interest at heart. And I don't really dive too deep into everyday political politics with like the mayor or the governor, Gavin Newsom. But even what I saw of Gavin Newsom really shifted my perspective of him a lot.
Definitely.
Because he seemed so charismatic and so nonchalant and very cavalier about everything every time I saw him.
But we don't really think about these figures. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a picture of Karen Bass in my life. I had no idea what she looked like. I've never heard a speech. I've never heard anything from her.
Yeah.
But now that all eyes are on them, it's really showing their character and it's really showing how they react in a crisis situation. And it's like, these are not the leaders that we want.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the rhetoric, like you were saying, like, and the way that they're speaking is just so out of touch.
Yeah.
And I think I told you about that Karen Bass post that was on Instagram.
Yeah,
that was
I haven't
just
seen it.
insane. Like,
should we watch it?
She looked like a crazy person. Look at the smile.
Angelinos, we're still going through it. And to any of you and all of
smile.
you that have experienced a loss, the grief, the anger, the just utter shock, I've seen the devastation. It is unbelievable the amount of loss that.
Why are you smiling? Resign. This is so strange. What is this upbeat tone? I agree. That felt so disconnected from the tone of the environment of LA right now.
Yeah.
She's smiling, very coy. And again, it's back to that cavalier-esque approach to, we're going to get through this. You can smell that she's unaffected by this. You can sense it. It reeks of such.
Scripted. I saw another video of a guy, I don't know his name, but he's like a big community leader guy. And he's, of course, like out there in the front lines, helping people out. And he's just like, you know, it's only us that we have. We only have community here. We don't have these leaders here to help us. Yeah. And that's just so sad, you know, because one, we pay a lot of money to the city. You know, people pay a lot of money, their hard-earned money to the city. And something like this happens and they're nowhere to be found, or they're smiling in your face in some weird Instagram video. It shows like the disconnect that they have. It shows that, you know, they are trying to put on this mask of
Yeah.
empathy. And people are seeing right through it, and people are coming up against it. One thing that people are going against right now that I don't really understand is like the whole DEI thing.
I don't get that either.
And yeah, because they're like, oh, well, you know, the firefighters had to, they had to fire a certain percentage of firefighters because they were white men.
Is that true?
I doubt it. I have not seen one statistic. All I've seen is a lot of angry, like right-wing people talking about that, but I haven't seen one actual statistic about that. And people are freaking out because, you know, the fire chief is a lesbian and all these things. The LA fire chief is a woman named Kristen Crowley.
Okay.
Because she's a woman, a lot of people are coming at her saying things like, if you can't carry me out of a fire. Oh. It's like, do you think that I mean, I'm sure she is helping on the grounds of the fire, but I feel like being the LA fire chief, you're more like you're strategizing, you know, your things like that, which I'm sure she's more than qualified for. You know, if she's the chief, she's more than qualified. It's not some DEI hire, or it's not, you know.
I don't believe that they give positions like that to anybody.
No, like why?
I don't.
No, I don't know why people are also getting bogged down by like the DEI situation. Is, you know, the fact that there was a budget cut of $17.6 million.
It seems like that's where we should be putting our attention.
That's where we should be putting our
Not
attention
on
at.
DEI.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
And then did that money get reallocated to the police?
I
haven't seen a
don't
cop
know.
all week.
I don't know if it got reallocated to the police, but I know that their budget got raised.
Oh.
That's what like these right-wing grifters do, though, is the first thing they go to is like, how can I spin this into like my hateful narrative and get views off of that and like start this dumb conversation that doesn't even need to be had. Looking at some of these statistics about the fire, it's just so devastating. And so how do we come back from this? You know, like the estimated damage here is saying around $60 billion. Over, you know, 41,000 acres burned. I'm sure that that's higher now as well. Thinking of people watching it from the outside is this really weird feeling too.
Yeah.
Like people watching it on social media and maybe not like fully understanding the extent of it.
That was one of the things that I felt weird about during this process, is that there's a certain level of isolation that comes with experiencing such a tragedy, watching the world watch you go through this.
Especially seeing these people try to politicize it. It's also just about, you know, our politicians not being prepared for something that happens almost every year. There's always a wildfire out here. You know, like it's not always as massive, and it's not in those specific areas, but it's usually surrounding LA.
Yeah.
And for us to not be ready for something like that is kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just we just want to make a video kind of talking about it, talking about our experience with it. And hopefully, you know, this kind of gives people more perspective of what exactly is going on and like the broader spectrum of it.
And anybody that has been affected by these fires, just stay safe. I guess one of the things I would say to LA is, if anybody gonna get through it, it's LA.
Yeah.
It's just been a difficult and trying time for us, and this is not how anybody wants to start off the new year. Be safe out there, y'all.
Be safe.
No matter
Be
where
safe.
you're at, be safe.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.